hanging on to their homes. They've been here for years. They're hanging on to their homes. They have grandchildren now, and so they're not having more children. So when you look at all of that, they are predicting approximately 800 to 1,000 student loss over the next 10 years within the Riverview Garden School boundaries. This is currently our building utilization. So this is how much of each building is currently being utilized with their current enrollment. So you'll see we range the highest is right here at Danforth is 86.2%, all the way to Lewis and Clark, which is the lowest, 29.8%. In other words, out of 100%, how much of a building is being utilized for instruction? So what they did, they looked at classrooms. How many children can be in a classroom? And they kind of said this is what's happening. So anywhere from 86.2 to Lewis and Clark 29.8 to Moline 46.7. So this just gives us an overview of the utilization of our buildings. I want to make it clear because it was reported on a news station as well as in a newspaper that Riverview Gardens Board of Education made a decision to close one of our schools. No decision has been made on closing any of our schools. So I want that clear. That was misinformation. No decision has been made. I have not made a recommendation to the board yet. And so once we're done with collecting our surveys, getting that information from our community meetings, then we will move forward with analyzing that information, and then I'll make a recommendation to the board. We had to revise our budget this year because, as you know, over the last 4 years, we were able to get ESSER funding. The ESSER funding has gone away, and so while it was very helpful, it no longer exists, and so we are adapting back to the 2019-2020 school year before we were able to get ESSER funding. In order to address our budget reductions, declining enrollment, and building utilization, we have to do something to address it to be an effective school district, so that's what we're looking forward to doing. And the board is considering all options. No decision has been made. They will consider all options. How do we provide quality education to our students, address the budget concerns, as well as looking at our building utilization and the possibility of closing one of our elementary buildings. And they want to make sure that the community, the parents, and the employees are involved in that decision. So that's where the surveys come in, so make sure you complete that. There will be additional information coming forward. This is our third meeting. We've had one in, we had one at Lewis and Clark, we had one at Central Middle School, this one is today, and then we'll have another one at Glasgow on February the 18th. We talked about the survey already. All of that information will allow me to make an informed decision to the board on what the steps are, how we should move forward, and then make a formal recommendation and have them make the decision. We want to hear from you, so make sure you complete the survey. This is a sample survey that went out to our community. It has questions such as what you believe about population trends in our area, how do you feel about closing one of our elementary buildings, what benefit do you see in consolidating our schools, and then we are also talking about going to a kindergarten through second grade 3-5 buildings, and what your thoughts are about that. All of those questions are in the survey that was sent out to our community. So this just mentions our upcoming meetings again, and then our ultimate goal, of course, is full accreditation and to make Riverview Gardens a district of choice. If you look at the boards over here to my right, you will see the elementary buildings, you will see the boundaries for it. And you see that if you look at, I'm not sure how this occurred or why it even occurred, but if you look at Danforth, this school, for example, the boundaries go all the way from Riverview to 70 Riverview in that area, all the way over to Lucas and Hunt. That's the elementary boundaries. And then you look at Lewis and Clark, it has a much smaller area. So the presentation to my extreme right just shows the elementary boundaries, and then this shows where our middle school boundaries are. So you'll notice that Central Middle School takes the majority of our district, although they're very close in enrollment, I think they're a couple hundred students off, but it shows where the boundaries are from middle school. This area, this is Hallsbury. This area here is the apartments that are at the corner on Nimnich where Westview Middle School is. So these students who live over here and here go to Central as opposed to Westview. So these boundaries, my understanding, were completed sometime in early 2000s maybe. And so this will give us an opportunity, should the board vote to reduce us by one middle school, this also gives us the opportunity to redraw our boundaries and make them more equitable. And then over here, these are some slides that were also up on the presentation that I gave, just giving the information related to the decline in enrollment and then current building enrollment and utilization. So that concludes the presentation. I am free to take any questions you may have so that I can make sure your concerns are answered. Are there questions? Yes, ma'am. Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. The question was the schools with the lower enrollment, do they have a lower student-teacher ratio? Not necessarily, they don't. Some classes may, it depends on how many first graders or second graders live in that area, so not necessarily. What you'll find throughout is that there are some classes that may have 24, 25 students in them, some may have 20 in them. We try not to make them, even though we'd like to do that, make our class sizes really small. From a financial standpoint, we can't do that. So we try to keep it at DESE standards, which ranges anywhere between 21 to, I think, up to 29 students for certain grade levels, certain elementary grade levels. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
In fact, I had this one school, our fifth grade class was so emotional, so dynamic. So I said, you know what? I decided to donate the $100. I was so impressed.
So what she was talking about is our buildings. She was talking about a school district that she subs in has kindergarten, pre-K through second grade buildings, and then third through fifth grade buildings. The pre-K through second grade are called primary buildings. That allows them to focus on foundation of education, everything to get the foundation solid. And again, I know my team is tired of hearing this, but when you build a house, you build from the foundation. You get a basement poured, you make sure that basement is solid, and then you build the rest of the house. That's what we will be allowed to do if we go to K2, 3, 5 buildings. So that's something that I'm very interested in doing. I've seen it work in a previous school district that I was in. Their students went from 40s and 50s meeting and exceeding to 80 and 90s meeting and exceeding within 4 years, because they were able to get the foundation, all of the phonemic awareness, the phonics, the math skills solid before the student moved to the next building, which was the 3rd through 5th grade building. So I'm a true believer in that foundational piece. I believe that that's something that if it's a K or pre-K through second grade, it allows that team to focus just on foundational skills so that students can be strong as they move forward. Thank you for saying that. Other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
also agree with that approach. I recommended that several years ago because I've seen it work in other states. So I recommended that several years ago. So I'm glad to see that that's an option. Another thing, I have a question regarding whenever a decision is made as far as if the school has to be closed. Are you considering the conditions of each school? And how is that working?
Yes, we did. We are considering the conditions of each school. So we had our team look at the building, what condition it was in, how much it would cost us to bring it up to ADA, because a couple of our buildings are not ADA accessible. So we looked at all of that, and so it went well. So we need to make decisions based on that information, right? Because it would appear that, well, if you have Lewis and Clark, they have 141 students, so you just close the smallest school. Well, Lewis and Clark happens to be in great condition, the building itself. And so we're not just going to go by enrollment, we have to go by the conditions of the building because, Riverview Gardens depends on our tax base, right? And so we're not a wealthy school district. I mean, we're not, I wish we were, but we're not. So we have to make financially smart decisions. We depend on federal and state taxes, and so we have to make a smart decision based on the conditions of our building. So just closing the smallest school, even though it seems logical, may not be logical if that building is in great condition and wouldn't cost us a lot of money to maintain. Thank you.
I'm being selfish because I live in this area. How's Danforth? Because I don't want to see this one closed.
Danforth is currently not ADA accessible. In order to bring us up to ADA accessibility, as well as to do some other repairs in the building, it would be anywhere between, how much, Carl?
$3.5 million.
Yeah, about $3.5 million. And then, of course, in any of our old buildings, when you start moving walls, you've got to take care of, other things that come out of a building that was built in the 1950s or 60s. So the cost could increase from there. So that's a consideration because we do have to look at. We just passed a bond issue, a no tax issue last April for $26 million, and we are redoing a lot of our buildings in terms of updating them. So if you think about spending anywhere from $3.5 to $5 million on that project, on this project, we have to decide, is that a good use of tax dollars? So this is where the survey comes in. So did you get the survey? Did you finish the survey? Okay, very good. So thank you for doing that. But that's where we want your voice to be heard. Also, back at that back table, there are little forms you can fill out to share your thoughts as well. We want to make sure that that information is at the table. So, and let me say this, any building that if the board should choose to vote to close one of our elementary schools, what we're doing is reaching out to colleges and universities to see if they would be willing to come in and take over that building. That invests in our community. I would really love it to be an HBCU because I think that feeds our students. It invests in the community. It allows our parents to take high school equivalency tests or college classes if they want to. It also allows our students to be bussed over, our 11th and 12th grade students, to be dual enrollment and start taking college classes. So it's not a building that's just going to be left vacant. I want to make that very clear to our entire community. We are looking at how we can invest that property to feed back into our community. One more question. That's your last question.
I'm sorry. Okay. Since you brought that up, I was watching your board meetings on live stream in high school when they were discussing whether or not to entertain and speak with Charles. What's your thought on that? Because I know they voted no, and I said, well, why not have a conversation?
So my response to that is the board has one employee. You're looking at her. I have 7 bosses. They've spoken, and I will honor their request. Okay. I will put this in. If any school is offering what we already offer, then what would end up happening is you're creating competition competition because they only have a certain number of spaces. Those children that didn't get into that school may think they just have to now settle for Riverview Gardens, and that's not a mindset we want to take root in our community. That last sentence says, I want to make this district the district of choice. And so I have 7 bosses, they have 1 employee, and they have made their decision. Thank you. Did you all say you had? Oh, he had other questions. Yes, ma'am. Okay, hold on.
I followed with Brian on some questions we both in this district. Kids went here, I was PTS co-president before all this crap happened years ago. So I know we talked about dollar amount. I know they important to that ADA compliance, but 3.1, 3.5 taxpayers have passed bond issues, just a couple of years ago, the PDS. Why isn't the school investing at 3.5 million? Because we have 250 students here, we cover a large stretch of land or area for our students. This would be, closing this school would affect more students if we, example, closing this in Clark. That's what I'm in 41. So as a taxpayer, we don't have kids in the district. I'm concerned, I feel the district is considering closing Danforth because of the price tag. But as a taxpayer, we have approved the proposition to give you guys money to fix all the schools. And I'm just concerned that 250 students being affected by the choice of the school district.
So no decision has been made. I want to make that very clear. No decision has been made. If the board votes to use the $3.5 million to get a Danforth ADA accessible, that's what we will do. We still have to address the 800 to 1,000 student loss and what that looks like. So we're keeping in mind that in any community, any of the neighborhoods, everybody's understandably tied to their elementary building because there are memories in their building, like you just said. You were PTO president, so there are memories in those buildings. So we don't take that lightly. We want to consider that. That's where the surveys come in important. So I beg you to please fill out the survey. It makes it good. Good. Express your concern. Okay. All right. Well, there's a little table back there where you can add more information if you'd like. So, of course, you can't ask every question under the sun in the survey. Otherwise, you know what would happen? People would take the survey. But there's a table back there. But again, no decision has been made, and that what you just said is very important. We passed a Prop S to invest in the community, invest in our buildings, and so we feel like we should do that. And I totally agree. I also think we have to address the possible 8 to 1,000 student loss in enrollment. So again, the board has made no decisions. Coming back over there, anybody over here have a question as I walk? Okay. That's a possibility too. She said, what about a trade school? If one of our buildings should close, what about a trade school? You have a question over there?
We have 2 questions in the chat. One of the questions is, when were the surveys sent out? So can you reiterate that one more time? And it's also in the link. A link was also in the chat.
Very good. When were the surveys sent out? The surveys were sent out, Ishmael, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It was before the holidays?
Before the holiday break. They went home in a mailer that should have gone to every home within the Riverview Gardens School District community. There was a link in there. We posted on our website, on social media, and it's gone out various times. Parents have also gotten text messages, and emails with links to the survey and information about these meetings. And you can always access it on the district's website, rgsdmo.org. There's a part at the top that says demographic study. And if you click that, it has the full presentation along with the survey. rgsdmo.org.
rgsd.mo.org is on the website as well, so if you'd like to go there. As well, you can also read the report from Cordogan Clark and what they shared with us. So please go to there. Let me get one more question over there. Go ahead.
Also in the chat, we have a question that says, when will the changes take place?
If the board should go to close any of our buildings and restructure our district, it would not take place. The earliest would be the 26-27 school year. We are not in a rush to do it, so if we would put together a team, including our community, employees, anyone who wanted to be on that team, to build a solid plan and then move forward with that plan. But if that needs more time, then we will push it off a year because we want to do it well, not fast.
If the decision is made for, therefore, what will happen to the building next door for A's? That's one question. Two, I no longer have any students in the district. My students are grown. But when they were in the district, I want to say, was first uncredited. That's how long it was there. One of my children was offered the opportunity to transfer out, and the district paid for my child to transfer. I decided to keep my child in the district part-time, and then finally we did eventually transfer all the way out, but my child went and had part-time at North County Tech. Is that something that's still offered when we're discussing technical schools? Is one of the questions.
So your first question was?
Okay, so we don't have ACE anymore. We have our Success Academy, and it will stay there. It will stay in that building. And do we offer our students to go to North County Tech part of the day? We do. However, we don't have the transfer program anymore where they can transfer to a different school, and we pay the cost for transportation. So that discontinued. Once we became provisionally accredited in 2000, I think it was 16-17, we no longer pay for transportation for students to go to other school districts. Okay.
With the survey, we will take into account, how much weight does the survey have as far as you deciding which group you close? You take into account what the stakeholders want.
We will take into account everybody. We will take the stakeholders, our employees, our community, because like she said, she lives in our community, I think both of them, but they don't have students in our district anymore. So we're taking into account all of the stakeholders and what they would like to see. Question over there. Do you all have any? I thought he said there were three. Okay.
Are you considering, because I'm looking at this board meeting, so since everything's on the table, are you considering redoing the boundary lines on some of these schools to maybe offset some of this?
We are considering, we will also offer the opportunity to redraw boundaries so that we can equal out the kind of better balance our school district. Other questions, sir?
I had a question as far as when you were speaking as far as different grades separating as far as the school. And you said it get better with kindergarten to second. Yeah. I wonder why isn't that? Is that like a curriculum thing, or is that as far as teacher based or kid based?
So the reason that occurs is because that school, those teachers, and that leader can focus on 3 grades as opposed to 5 grades. So kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So right now they're focusing on 6th grade levels. When you separate them and you have a pre-K or kindergarten through 2nd grade building, it allows them just to focus on the needs of those students at that age. The emotional needs, the academic needs, and so it allows everyone in the building to focus on that and not have to worry about 3rd through 5th grade. So in the other building, the 3rd through 5th grade, they just have to worry about 3rd through 5th grade skills. And they get them ready to go to the middle school. And then the middle school worries about, those skills to get them ready for the high school. So it really does do a great job to focus the attention of everybody in the building, from the principal to the teachers to cafeteria staff. Kindergarten through 2nd grade babies need something very different than 3rd through 5th grade babies as it relates to nurturing. And so that allows us to nurture that and get them prepared for 3rd grade. Yes, very much. They need it. Love, nurture, then educate. That's what we should be doing. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. I like when people apologize for asking questions. You don't have to apologize.
I know it's been a while, but historically, the district did have K through 2, because that was before Michelle Obama. It was K through 2, and the 3rd graders came over here. This was day 4 intermediate academy. So historically, our board went back and looked at how the students performed in that setup then.
No, I haven't done that yet because I was not aware of that being in the district the last 5 years. And so I will go back and look at that, but do you know, like, kind of what years it was around? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And I think, as a matter of fact, I think I had heard that, and I think let's say that again. Parents as teachers, okay. I haven't looked specifically at Riverview Gardens and how they perform. I just know that studies will show that K through 2nd grade students, when you can focus on what they need academically and what they need from a nurturing perspective, they're much better prepared to go to 3rd grade and they do much better academically. So I haven't looked specifically at Riverview Gardens, but having been a kindergarten through 2nd grade principal for a number of years, and then a 3rd through 5th grade principal, it makes a difference. It truly does. And so I'm not sure why we went to a different model. I don't know why that was, but I don't know specifically about Riverview Gardens either back then. But I do know all of the studies show that when you can focus on what they need at certain age levels, they are much better prepared not only academically, but socially and emotionally as well.
Our preschool, it wasn't there, and I've heard that the wait list is like 200 kids. So if we decide, I'm not holding this, but if we were to decide to close Danforth and we're looking for partnership colleges or whatever, if we do not attract that type of organization. Well, that's good to know, because I was surprised. I was thinking maybe they could bring the preschool over here, but is it possible? What we would do
is we would see which buildings were already fitted for the little babies, right? Because when you do that, you have to make sure the toilets are smaller, the sinks are smaller, the drinking fountains are smaller, the lunch tables are smaller. You then have to retrofit the building to make sure. So we wouldn't leave 200 students on the waiting list. If we could bring them into our buildings and have a pre-K building, a pre-K2 building, we would, but understanding that that's going to be a cost associated with it as we retrofit the building to be ready for them. Other questions? None over here? Okay. Anybody here? Okay.
more business question. understand the building, Dan, was maybe 3.5 million to repair. Are there any resources outside of just funds and things like that that can assist with it? So I know there are several agencies like the Urban League and homeowners, but are there any, like the state? I can answer those questions in regards to the state itself. But when it comes to school districts, are there any type of avenues that you can go through state and federal that may be able to assist with repairs and things like that?
So we do continually monitor what opportunities are out there.
All right, come on up. Introduce yourself, and I didn't even introduce myself, so I apologize. I'm Tanya Patton, the superintendent.
Good afternoon, I'm Colonel Shea, Executive Director of Facilities and Food Service. So to answer your question, yes, we are continually monitoring what grants and other opportunities may exist out there for school districts or communities. When there are opportunities to secure funds for those types of things. Right now, there's not anything specifically on the horizon. We're always constantly watching these things to see, as opportunities come forward, is it something that can fit within our district and help us move forward on some of these things.
Sounds like you're looking for a partnership, though. Okay, all right. We are too, so we can partner with that. And if you have some leads on grants or different things we can write for and utilize, we are we do that all of the time. And so let's partner and we can get that done. Thank you. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So I'm looking at the district map, and we have 9 elementary schools? Yes. Okay. So does the district know, because we have 9 elementary schools, probably 7 or 8 municipalities that the district covers? I don't remember. So have you guys, the district or the board, have you all aligned how many residents are attached to the municipality? Like how many in Glasgow, how many in Moline, whoever else we cover, Elkhorn and stuff like that?
So that was part of the demographic study, and I'm going to let this gentleman introduce himself and answer that question.
Good evening, my name is Steve Resnick with Cordogan Clark. Yeah, we're close to that. So yes, we did factor all that information in as part of the demographic study. I don't have that information at my fingertips, but the information that you see in front of you is all compiled off of all of the geographic data that you described. We actually get down to the actual, basically looking at address, so we know where each student might be. That is that aggregated all the information that you see in front of you tonight.
And now it's on that one over there. But we can, there's all of that over there is the enrollment for each building as well as the utilization of each building. And this is, we can put them together or put that over here so that it flows better. So we'll do that at our next meeting. That's a good recommendation. No, thank you for doing that. What did you just say? All right, other questions? All right, I have to introduce some people to you all. And we have 3 of our board members sitting in the room. Ms. Wanda Lane is with us. Wave your hand, Ms. Wanda Lane. Dr. Nikita Coleman is with us. She's our board president. And Ms. Sharon Tisworth, she is one of our board members as well. So the board members are here to support. Again, I just want to make this very clear. This board has not made a decision about closing any of our buildings. I've not made a recommendation. I want to make sure, I saw that look on you. I want to make sure that we have all of the information necessary. So there's surveys, there are sheets of paper back there for everyone to fill out if you have additional questions. If there were questions on the survey that you felt should have been on the survey that wasn't there, please feel free to add those questions and give answers on the paper. We will collect that as well. Okay? Ms. Wanda Lane, let me come back to you. Go ahead and use your outside voice.
First of all, I thank all the citizens
But how many? 14? So, of the citizens who are here, who are present, and you've heard the presentation on the challenge that we have. As for the citizens who are present, and if they can hear me, you've heard the challenge that the superintendent has presented. And it's a challenge for all of us. Are there any citizens who, I know it may be the first time you've heard it, but can you think of anything else that we as a district has not addressed? And what ideas or recommendations would you have? Because the survey asks specific questions, and it does leave an opportunity for you to write your own comments. But this is the time right now for us to talk about this, because there are going to be a lot of folk with rocks in their jaws when we make one decision and it's not the decision that you think the community should have made. So now is the time for us to speak up. Now is the time. And we're not, we're friendly. Just tell us what you think, and we'll give you our assessment on how feasible, or yes, it can be incorporated, no, it can't, but the recommendation about putting the number of students per school, that's a good idea. All those kinds of things. So we're actually asking for help. It's not an easy thing for us to do.
This is the time. I agree with Ms. Lane. This is not to be combative. We're not here to be
Combative. We are here to work with our community and to make sure we are making the best decision for this district and this community. So please, please, please have your voice heard. I'll say it again. Please, please, please have your voice heard. If there were questions, if there were questions you were hoping would be on our survey, feel free to let us know what they are. There are sheets of paper back there. You can also yell them out, and the team over there will get them written down. One of the reasons we decided to go Facebook Live is because our first two meetings weren't very well attended by the community. This is the largest crowd we've had, so give yourselves a round of applause for coming, because it matters. It matters. And I can tell you that in the end, once a recommendation is made and a decision is made, the first thing I'm going to do if you call me to say, well, why did you all do that? I'm going to look for your email address on the survey, because this is where your voice should be heard. The people that are on our virtual platform, same to you. This is your opportunity to ask those questions, fill out the survey, have your voice heard. We are doing all that we can, including going to Facebook Live to try to get our community involved. We are doing everything short of knocking on doors and bringing the meeting into your living room. We can do that. This would have been a nice day to have it outside in the front yard, but I agree with Ms. Lane. Please make sure your voices are heard. Okay. Okay.
As far as the meetings are concerned, are all of the board meetings live, like Facebook Live?
We have it's not Facebook Live, we have
Okay, and that'll be like, okay. And then as far as the hours for this meeting, and this demographic of people, I think it was too early to have that meeting, because these are working people. I don't think a lot of people get off. I think it's a more traditional 9 to 5 hour that people will work. So
we can do it in our next meeting later. Our meeting
I
last
know the
week.
first one was later.
Yeah, the first two.
Oh, the first two.
Yeah. One at 6 to 6, started at 6 to 8. I think we had 2 parents there. So we're trying to, get the first one a little earlier, this, the one at 6 to 8, and this one. So we'll move the meeting that will be on February 18th to say that.
It's scheduled for 6 days.
So we're trying to get everybody.
And you all are covering having the same discussion at each meeting?
Well,
So for the people that are on our Facebook or wherever the Facebook, the question was the times of the meetings. We've had the first one was earlier last week at Central Middle School. It was 6 to 8. This one is 4 to 6. Our next one will be from 6 to 8. So we are trying to make sure we're covering every possible schedule. It may cause us to maybe have meetings at Central Services during the day for people who work at night. Maybe we'll have a 1 to 3 meetings so that if you work at night, that still gives you the opportunity. We want, it is, even though we are scheduled to have one more meeting, nothing says that we can't have more than one if that's what's required to get our community activated and involved. And so I'm happy to do that. I'm there anyway, so let's go. Let's go. Question over there.
So there are two more questions. The first question asks about more representation for the owner in the area. So they ask, where are all?
So everyone was invited to attend. So we have one. Come on, stand up. Introduce you. Do we have more than one? Okay, so we have 2 elected officials in here. 2, 1, how many? Raise your hand. Come on, don't make me call you out. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, hold on. We have one more question over there. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
And then the second question is, if there are any closures, how will it be determined what teachers stay? They want to make sure that we're not packing buildings with kids without having the staff to support.
So our teachers were also given a survey to share with us what they prefer. Do they prefer K-2? Do they prefer 3rd through 5th? What is their preference? And we have enough space for all of our teachers.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Alderwoman Smith, Alicia Smith.
Turn that way, Alderwoman Smith.
Hi, I'm Alderwoman Smith. Hi, I'm Ward 4 of Belltown Lakers. Any question, comment, concern?
Thank you. I think they just wanted to make sure you all.
Thank you.
And look, everybody's invited. Everybody's invited. These doors are wide open because we want the voice of everyone. Hi, Miss Lane, you want this microphone?
I can use my outside voice. I'm glad we're kind of lining it up, but it's serious. The residents of Belltown neighbors, first of all, thank you all for being here. And those who come to our board meetings, you hear me, the very first thing I say is, I'm a broken record. I know I'm sounding like a broken record. But I'm going to take the opportunity now to say the same thing that I've said at most of our board meetings. Please send your children to school. Please send your children to school so we can educate them. We can't if they're not in attendance. It seems like a simple thing to me. And I know I'm 100 years old, but I remember the time when we didn't have the opportunity to go to school. We couldn't go to school. So now, and I'm not saying it's easy, and yes, people sacrifice their lives for us to be able to be educated with our tax dollars. And it's passionate to me because I don't think we understand it. I just think if we understood it, we would do better, because we don't do better. And I'm not saying it's easy. Every generation has its own challenges. I know all of that. But we have so many resources. At our last presentation, there was the PAC Council resources. There was no one there when we're trying to tell you we have these things that will help your family. Shoes, clothing, medical attention, all of this stuff that we have that we're offering as a school district, and we're not taking advantage of it. And it is hurtful that we are in the situation that we're in, where we're having to beg our parents to please send their children to school. That should not be an option. That should not be a choice. That should be our responsibility.
And Miss Lane will get me started. So let me say this, because I've heard this comment, so I'm going to address it. Well, they just want the babies at school for the money. You're absolutely right, but that's how we give them an effective education. That's how we can bring things to them and resources. So when you say we want the money, we do want the money so we can feed it back into our babies and educate them. So that's not a bad thing. Our current attendance rate is unacceptable. It is just simply unacceptable. And we need to get our babies to school. It is under, I think, a 50%. 50%. That means 50% of our students come to school 90% of the time. How are we going to educate our community? So if you're out there or you're sitting in this room and you're saying, well, they just want the money, you are absolutely right. That's how we get them facilities that they can be proud to walk into. That's how we get them the resources they need. That's how we can bring them the teachers that they need. You are absolutely right. Other school districts, the money's coming in, right? Look at what those babies have. So yes, the money is tied to the child, but the money goes back to the child. It goes back to these babies. It doesn't come to us. So I'm going to get off that box. Ms. Lane, you shouldn't have gotten me started. And we have two more questions.
I have a couple, well, maybe two questions and a comment. One question is, from my position in Bellfound Neighbors, I see firsthand there are a lot of children that aren't registering to go to school in our district. They are actually catching the bi-state bus to the city. I know this firsthand. And you know that I had started giving you guys a letter of vacant homes, because at first that was a problem. People were using wrong addresses. But then on the flip side of that, it became a more problematic from what I have been doing, from what I deal with daily in my position is, like Ms. May spoke of the resources and parents not utilizing. When I go knock on these doors, sometimes there's an influx of DCFS calls from parents. There are situations where I'm having to unhouse entire households. And those are a lot of times during school days where I have walked into several homes where the biggest problem is Johnny may be in charge of actually staying home to babysit the younger siblings so that mom can go to work. So I guess my question, I'm sure you probably know the answer, but maybe we also need to try to tap more in to the root causes of the absences. Because like I said, it's like this generation has so many other obstacles that they're facing, right? When my kids were in school, it was a two-parent household, so we didn't have the problem, but now you're faced more and more times with a single parent household for whatever reason. So, and I also wanted to know, so definitely once the decision is made, the school has to close, the building will not remain dormant, correct? Okay, because that was the other concern as how they could negatively impact property values instead of more crime.
So I'll address both of those. So we talked about, I'll address your second question first. We talked about teaming with the university to utilize the building. We have some that are interested in utilizing our building that will actually feed into our community. It will be a satellite university. It could be an HBCU. We could have our juniors and seniors bust over there and take dual credit courses. We could have our community take college courses if that's what they wanted, within walking distance to any one of our schools. And we could also, if any of the community members needed to get their GED or HiSET, they can get that as well. In reference to the first comment you made, we have a homeless population. They're called students in transition. And we have about 600 to 800 of those students in our district, right? Some of them live in our district, but they lost their home in a different school district. And so if, because of the McKinney-Vento laws, they have the right to remain in their home school, and we have to bus them over there or pay for bus transportation for them to get there. And vice versa. Sometimes students who live in our community become homeless. They move in with their grandmother in a different school district, but they want to keep going to Riverview Gardens. We have to send transportation over to get them. So we understand, and you have been very gracious on giving us the list of homes, because we have some people using the address of vacant homes to enroll in our school district as well. So we're doing our best to, we actually need a whole team of people to be knocking on doors. But in terms of students jumping on transportation going to other schools, I just want everybody to keep in mind, there is a student in transition population. McKinney-Vento laws requires us to give them the choice if they want to stay in the school district they're coming from or come to Riverview, and gives them the choice if they want to stay in Riverview, and so other school districts bus them over here. You had another question. Are we addressing kids' mental conditions, Ms. Liddell?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell them how we're addressing kids' mental conditions, Ms. Liddell. I'm going to walk towards you with the microphone.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have therapeutic services in all of our buildings. There is also a grant that we have with UMSL. UMSL provides us clinical counselors as well as school counselors. All of their interns come through us that are involved within the PAC grant. PAC grant is our partnership for anti-racist counselor training. We also have a clinic. So we have our Rams Health Clinic at the high school. The Rams Health Clinic not only does health services, but it also does behavioral health services. So we're able to do that as well as our MOUs and partnerships. We partnership with BJC for their behavioral health. We have a behavioral health nurse that can come in to our buildings, do observations, and then we create a plan where we have wraparound services for our scholars and our families. With that behavioral health plan, sometimes it does involve transportation, different things, so we're breaking down some of the barriers that we may have. And then also some of our counselors and social workers are also licensed counselors. Okay, so we have another comment. It says there have been instances in the past where staff has visited students' homes to offer assistance. However, parents have got to take accountability and do the work to reach out for the aid. This is what the resource fair is offering.
We also have home-to-school coordinators. They go knock on doors. What is it that you need? Why isn't your baby at school? What is it that you need? Do you need food? Do you need clothing? Do you need socks, shoes, a book bag? Do you need to get them their physical to get in school? Do they need immunizations? We can get you everything you need. All you got to do is get them here. As a matter of fact, we will send a bus to come and get them somewhere in your neighborhood, and we will bring them. So there's nothing that we don't offer to make sure. We try to break down all the barriers possible that they have. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have each one of our schools have washers and dryers. So if it's that, well, they don't have clean clothes, we can take care of that. Maybe you have a washer and dryer at home, but you don't have detergent. We can take care of that. So I'm going to be honest with you, I have never seen a school district that offers so much to break down all of the barriers that our students have. We are going above and beyond to do that. And so I want to team with our parents. This is mamas and daddies. This is not you against us. This is we, because we have a responsibility to these babies, these 5,300 babies that we serve. We have a responsibility. So we want to team with you to get this done. And if we can do that, we can make this the district of choice. I fully believe in this school district, and I fully believe that we are capable of doing that. So don't think about what you heard. Riverview Gardens is taking care of these babies, and we are giving them everything that they could possibly need, and everything. Did you have a question?
I was just going to piggyback on the resources. I can attest to that because last year I worked with Principal Nancy. She was at a very good high school, and our church provided a whole bunch of detergent and everything that was needed. So I don't think it's necessarily, it's something with the parents where education is kind of priority. That part I haven't understood because even I'm on 484, but education was non-negotiable. You didn't have a choice. You went to school and your parents were there. But for some reason now, education or attending school is an option instead of a requirement. And that breakdown with the parents, I haven't figured that part out yet. Another thing I want to bring up, and I know you stated that you have 7 bosses, and they've already made their decision on that. Yes. So, with regard to, I'm going to go back to the charter school issue. Have you put out a survey, the same survey with all your parents about the issues that's going on now? How do they feel about possibly a charter school coming to the district? Have you asked the parents that?
We have not asked the parents that. We have not. Our focus and my energy is on making this school district what it needs to be. That's my focus, and that's where my energy is. So we have not put that survey out. And let me acknowledge one of our board members who just came in, Dr. Miranda Von Elliott. She's one of our other board members. Question over there.
We have comments. So with the comments, we have 3 grocery stores within our district. We have a grocery store at the high school, a grocery store at Polk Elementary, as well as a grocery store at Highland Elementary. Also with the grocery stores, we also have a food distribution once a month at Gibson Elementary. There's also a comment that states that I'm a witness to validate how much Riverview Gardens supports both scholars and their families.
Thank you. So I'm going to say again, what we heard about our school district is incorrect. This is a kind, caring, loving school district that is going out of its way to take care of the babies of this district. And we wake up every day and come into these buildings with intent to love, nurture, and then educate them. And that's what we fully expect to do.
2 points. You mentioned that you guys are using every method to communicate to parents that come to these community meetings. I think I mentioned to a board member, I can't remember. You guys have some Black History performances perhaps coming up? Can you share some information at that time? I mean, these are some ideas we had worked before. 30 minutes or 40 events because parents come to see their babies.
Right.
And then secondly, I wanted to piggyback on Brian's comment. I don't know if it's the parents. Something we had to learn as PTO. Some of our parents didn't finish high school. So there are some gaps there. So how can we find resources about the parents? They probably didn't go to high school, so they can't really engage and help their students. So we got to meet them where they are as well. Absolutely. That's the parents.
It's not. I agree with that. And we are not blaming our parents. We want to partner with them to help them bring their students. In terms of your question, each of the district leaders are tied to a building. And they go out to the buildings during the performances, and they talk right in the center of the performance because we don't want to get it on the front end because our parents may show up late. We don't want to wait to the end because they might leave. We jump right in the middle and we say what we have to say to them. So you are absolutely right. When there's a performance, the house is packed. It's parking all up and down the street. So we are capitalizing on that as well. And each of them are tied to a particular building, actually 2 buildings, and their responsibility is to go out and talk to those parents in those buildings.
Good evening. I'm Mr.
I'm the Executive Director of Communications. And just a follow-up on your question, in terms of Black History events that are going on in the schools, if you go to the website, the RGSD website, rgsdmo.org or rgsd.k12.mo.us, now there's the ability to sort through all of the school calendars. So if you're interested in going to the Black History events or different events that the schools have, you can go through, and if you live in this area for Danforth, you can check the Danforth box and just see Danforth's events. I will say that I don't think all of our Black History Month activities are on the calendar yet, but we're sending out reminders to our buildings, keep those updated. So just make sure you go and check those, and we will take advantage of those opportunities to share this information with our parents.
I am Sharon Chisholm, member of school. What I want to say is, when you look at the school board members, all 7 of us, we're here for the children. If you see us on the street, we're still here for the children. If you have any questions, we're just not 7 stuck ladies sitting there. Just ask, come to us, or call us. We have calls, you can call our calls in person. We will answer your question and we're here to help you send it to you. We're here to help you and your children. Thank you.
And I can back that up because they will call me and ask me a question. What happened with, or I heard, and so I just want to clear that up. So as a matter of fact, let me clear up something that I was asked today. Riverview Gardens is provisionally accredited. We are not an unaccredited school district. We are provisionally accredited, and we will get to full accreditation.
So my question is, because I'm not really sure it is. So I heard people mention a charter school. How would that look in terms of Riverview School District? Would like test scores and stuff impact? Would it have a negative impact to the school district as a whole? Would it be a possible enhancement to the school? And would it just be something that stood alone, almost like the Catholic schools that are in the district?
So it would depend, right? If they wanted to open a charter school and we did not team with them, it would stand alone. If we teamed with them, it would be a part of Riverview Garden School District. But they're not held, I want to make this clear, they're not held to the same standards as our school district would be held to. Made me think of something else I wanted to say. So you gave me, when you lost it, I lost it too. But yes, if they're tied to us, it would be a part of the school district. If it's not, it's a standalone. But I will say this. Studies show that most charter schools, their test scores are often the same test scores as the community they sit in, because they are taking care of the same community that we have. And so that's typical. Now, that's not to say that there aren't chances where the charter school or times where the charter school performs better. But what I will say is most of the charter schools that are operating inside within the boundaries of a particular school district often have the same test scores and results as the school district it sits in. Is somebody up here? Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Previously stated, the school is provisionally unaccredited. Unaccredited, I'm sorry. I don't know what provisionally means, but can you explain what that means to the public?
Provisionally accredited means we met the basics to be an accredited school district, but we still have to grow. And so that's what we're doing. We do state of the district. We have to have a state of the district, as a matter of fact, 2 before the end of the school year. And that's when the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, they come down and they visit and they want to know, what are you doing? We still have oversight by the state, so they come down, they want to know, what are you doing? Let's look at our test scores, and they're a part of that meeting. And that reminds me, we have a school, one of our schools that has the Promising Practicing Award, that's Moline Elementary, and we recently, today, as well as last week, got a report that they named several schools. They were Central Middle School, they were Moline, the Masters, there were several others that are scoring very well. Moline has the sixth they have the sixth, they're improving math. They're sixth in the state with improving math. We are improving in ELA. We got that information today from the University of St. Louis. So, you know, what they say about Riverview Gardens is just simply not true. It is simply not true. Do we have ways to go? Yes, we do. The loss of accreditation was devastating to us, and we're still feeling the effects of what happened today. But we are not going to sit around and complain about it. We're going to do what we have to do to move these babies, because we have 5,300 students that are depending on us. And I want to be there. You all want to arm wrestle? I want to make sure that we are there to support them.
So I have a tough question, and this may be for the board members as well. When my children attended Riverview Gardens School District, what made me move my child was, at the time my son was in class, I'm one of those that ask a lot of questions, as you can see. No question is a dumb question, is what I raise my kids to know. And my son went to ask a question, and the substitute teacher at the time, and the substitute teacher responded, she didn't know. She was there just as a fill-in. So I went to talk to the principal, and the principal kind of gave me the same answer. And the young lady who was the teacher didn't even try to find the answer for the child. So she was basically taking it. That was it for me. That was the straw for me. There are more substitute teachers in the districts from what I'm understanding. I don't know that to be precisely true. I'm understanding that, I guess my question is, how are we able to get students, seniors, juniors, to be more into education or becoming teachers outside of any other field? This is not just a Missouri issue, it is United States wide. Again, I deal with corrections for having that issue as well.
So we do have subs in our district, but the difference is, as of 3 years ago, our subs are trained when our teachers are trained. So we're not just having people babysit our students. Our long-term subs are doing all of the training, all the professional development that the teachers are having. That's number one. In turn, we have a grow your own. Do you want to talk about that, Mr. Ford? The grow your own. So we are trying to find ways to use students in our district who want teaching as a career. We're trying to support that as well.
Good evening. My name is Travis Ford. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Several years ago, we had the larger numbers of substitutes in our district. And over the past few years, we have decreased it dramatically each year to make sure that we would have certified teachers in front of our students. That was part of bringing in our international teachers who come with a wealth of experience. Most of them have master's degrees, some of them have doctorates. I think most of them, I think the ones who have been teaching the least is 8 years of experience before you become teaching internationally, before you become over here. We also have developed a lot of partnerships with universities and programs to help our substitute teachers or even our paraprofessionals who want to become teachers, who build good relationships with the students, who have the ability to make that connection, but don't have the education or the training in there. So we have a partnership with SLU. We currently have teachers who are getting their educational degrees from SLU. And in a year, at the end of this year, they'll have 1 more year to complete, and they'll be prepared to sit for the test and be certified teachers. We have 2 that were in the program with UMSL this past year who were able to finish their degree and also their certification and now be certified classroom teachers. in the classroom that they had been a substitute teacher because they received that training. We have additional ones in our programs with us. We're working on MOUs with other universities. We have some that are in the Parallel Pro program with Lincoln University. So we have built in a lot of programs to help support our substitute teachers who want to become teachers, who may have not had the opportunity at another time, but now they're there and they realize they love that. Plus, like Dr. Patton said, they also get the training. Now that all of the teachers, we even did something differently this year where we changed the way that we do our onboarding with substitute teachers. Where typically a substitute teacher, you're hired and you go into the classroom and you start. Now we do training, we partner with our CNI department, and our CNI department comes in after our orientation, and they teach them about lesson plans, how to follow the lesson plan, how to go through the curriculum. Then we have another section from our CNI department where they teach them about classroom management techniques, so that before they even get to the building and start getting the onboarding later, they have built some skills to go in the classroom and be more effective. And then we also have the Grow Your Own program. We got the Grow Your Own grant this year, and so with that Grow Your Own grant, we got from DESI $10,000 to invest in our high school students who want to become teachers in the future. So with that, we're partnering with the high school and the college and career program. They're going out to some of the educational programs that are close to us, where they're participating in the STEM program. This is a student, and help me with the name, his name, the STEM program, the student tutoring and mentoring program. This is where some of our high school students go to our elementary schools. They read to the students, they help tutor them for an hour or so in some subjects that they need help with. Now we get to partner with them and buddy them up with a mentor teacher within that building where they'll get a chance to really get more experience on small groups and learning what teaching really is and what teaching looks like, so that if that's something that they want to do, they already have that exposure to.
We didn't come here to play. We are doing stuff in this school district. I just want people to understand that. This is true. We are doing stuff, and it hurts my feelings when they don't think that we are showing up every day for these babies. We do. And so we're doing this.
There was one more question in the chat, or the comment in the chat. The comment was about, I am looking at the job listings online, and I see that there are a lot of jobs posted. A lot of jobs are posted. They weren't posted a couple of weeks ago, but they just posted because we are going into hiring season right now. Right now is the time when you open up hiring season for the districts, because now you're coming into the time of renewing contracts. Typically, you have to have those contracts out by April 15th. And so this is hiring season where people is looking to see if they're returning to their districts, if they want to sign that contract with neighboring districts, with our district, and you're also looking to attract people who are coming to the district. So that's why you see those postings on the district website.
And I do want to comment. Thank you, Mr. Ford. Our sub-teachers are doing the thing in the classroom. I'm going to tell you, I walked into a kindergarten class last week at Polk Elementary School, and she had those baby kindergartners writing sentences, sounding out words, talking about tall letters and short letters. Those substitute teachers that came in with the training that we gave them, they are doing a great job in the classroom. Ishmael and I went over there because we're doing something called It Ain't Just Kindergarten. Now I know that wasn't right grammar. It isn't kindergarten. My point of it is, often we will hear parents, the grade level that has the worst attendance is kindergarten. Because parents think, well, it's just kindergarten. No, it's foundation. It is foundation, it's foundation, it's foundation. That's like saying you're going to build a house and you're not going to put a foundation, and I say to you, well, it's just a foundation. Your house is going to implode. So it's not just kindergarten, it's foundational skills that those babies need to be successful. I can't say it enough. Foundation, foundation. That's my middle name. Tanya Foundation Patton. That's my middle name. Foundation, foundation. So, other questions? Okay.
So I just want to thank the head of the year and Pat and the board, because I am one of those parents that, when they lost accreditation, it was horrible. And many of us left as we could. came back, right? But I always think, because, old school, it's either accreditation or not. So I never understood, and I talked to a lot of community people, I don't understand this unprovisional accreditation. It's either accreditation or not. So I appreciate you explaining that, because I had no idea. Right.
That's something we should put out.
So I think, sometimes, what do you get?
Professionally,
What do you get?
remove the word on, remove that on. Professionally.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Well, what do you get with a provisional credit? When they first want a credit, colleges are not going to accept the student. That bad taboo, right? Now you're provisional credit. And where is Ishmael? I just have to apologize. I used to get so angry when we meet at meetings and you say that. I mean, like, really? Because you're not accredited. So, we are thinking. So I really think that needs to be explained, because it's still a bad source for me, because you're not accredited. You know what I'm saying?
Ms. A, how much money do this school district get in scholarships? Ma'am, I need your attention. Ms. A, how much money did our students get in scholarships last school year? Hold on.
The class of 2024 earned $15.1 million in our scholarships.
This is a provisionally accredited school district, which means we met the criteria and we have to keep working to sustain it. That's what we're looking for. And so we have some points we need to get this school year in order to be provisionally accredited. And we're going to get them. But it doesn't keep our babies from going to college. We have babies in WashU. We have babies that got the Bill and Melinda Gates Scholarship and have all 4 years plus their master's paid for. So you know what? That will be the first thing I do tomorrow morning, because it didn't occur to me. So thank you for saying that. That means we need to put that information out. And so it will be out. Ishmael will be in my office at 7:30 with us working on that communication. Let me come over here.
Let's not forget that we also had a Riverview Garden student who won the Bill Gates Scholarship.
We have a student.
And Dr. Pennington, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to add some clarity to the provisional accreditation piece. So a provisional accreditation means that we are accredited by the state of Missouri. There's just some extra things that we have to do that other school districts don't. And that's like the community meetings and the things like that, where we have to present to the state every year to show why we need to keep that accreditation or to get fully accredited, so that we don't have to do those meetings every year. We are by the state accredited. Colleges take our transcripts, they take our students, they give us scholarships. It's just we have some additional stipulations that we have to show that we're continuing to grow.
Thank you. Very good. So black or white, but it's just one or two. There are two options, black or white, right? There's an in between, and that's where we're sitting, but we're not going to sit there long. We're not, but I do want to say this. Thank you for making that a point, because I didn't understand that people didn't understand. So that means that we have to put better effort in making sure that our community understands what that means. So we will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for leaving out the package on the porch. I think as far as the message, like Ms. Morrison stated, like that was important, even with like our harping on charter schools. I'm all for it. But what the message to the parents, what have you offset what the charter schools are trying to say that we want to offer? So like if the charter schools are coming and saying, we're offering this, that's what we're students will be better off here. So then how does Riverview, how are you going to respond to that? To say, they may offer this, but we offer this, so that Riverview is the school of choice. And a second one, that when we go back to the service, we hear information that comes out as far as God minimize the international stuff. And some of the students were saying that there's a language barrier where they're having to use Google Translator to fully understand and communicate with the teachers.
Okay, so the first question was about the charter school. The charter school that is asking to open in this area is offering exactly what we have, academics in the therapeutic setting. That's what Ms. Liddell just went through. All of the resources that we have with restorative we have a restorative team, we have a clinic at the high school, we have a team of social workers and counselors and home to school coordinators. So we offer them, and we have academics as well. So I just want to make that clear. And the last thing you said, our international teachers are not subs. They are teachers that are in our school district, and they speak very good English. So I'm surprised to hear that they're needing to, some may be needing to use Google Translate, because I've met them all. They speak very good English, and so I don't know that that's, not saying you're making it up, I don't know that that's accurate. I'll just say that, because they speak very good English, and they are not subs. They are teachers here, and as Mr. Ford shared, many of them come to us with a master's degree, doctorate degrees, and they come to us with at least 8 years of teaching. And so we made sure that we brought in qualified people that can help us move our district forward. And I think we have a question.
It's a statement, not a question. I want to piggyback off what Ms. Bailey said, and off what Brian said. I think the school district needs to do more in terms of informing parents about the different terminology based around accreditation, because that is a bad misconception. My kids all graduated from Riverview School District, and it was during the time that they were, I think, at the beginning of the accreditation issues. They've all been out of school for 20 years, but they all received scholarships, and doing very well. They all went to graduate college, have 2 or 3 degrees. And I think parents here are so ill-informed about what all goes into accreditation. If memory serves me correct from being active when my children were in school, there are things like budgets and things like that, meetings, budgets, safety laws, things like that go into test scores, they go into accreditation. It's not just the kids are performing poorly. There are a whole lot of factors, and I don't think a lot of parents are aware of those situations, and we need to do a better job of making them aware of everything that ties in to accreditation.
We hear you, and we will resolve that so that there are no questions. I'm glad that that was brought up in the room, because you assume there's an understanding, and maybe there isn't. And so we will make that very clear. It'll be out by Friday, and we will make sure that there is a clear understanding of what provisional accreditation means and what that means for us, because there's a certain criteria we have to continue to meet in order to get to full accreditation. So thank you for saying that, and we will make sure that we take care of that, because I'll take responsibility for that. We should have done a better job of communicating what that means and how we get out of it, and we will. All right. Any other questions? Okay. I want to thank you all in this room for showing up. It is very much appreciated. I am happy to see your faces. We will make our next meeting, it may not be our last meeting. It's February 18th. It is at Glasgow Elementary School. That's going to be from 6 to 8 o'clock. And then we will throw in a couple of day meetings in case parents work nights and they want to come during the day. We will throw those in. Our objective is to reach every community, every single person, every homeowner, every parent, every employee, because we need your voice in this game. We need your voice in this game. As you heard, there are wonderful things happening in this school district. Please know that. Please know that. I will hang around, the team will hang around, our board members will hang around for just a few minutes if you have other questions. Otherwise, thank you for being here. The people that are on Facebook Live, thank you. Come back next week, come back on the 18th, and we'll do so. That one will be live, and then some during the day will be live, if that will reach all of our community. So thank you all, we appreciate it.
Survey.
Oh, the survey, I sent the survey.
I know, just
okay, make sure you complete the community survey, the employee survey, and the parent survey, and we will have that. I think Ishmael sent it out last week again, and then I sent the employee survey out last week again. So if you see Ishmael Sistron's name, click on it. That's the survey. If you see Tanya Pack's name, click on it. That's the survey. And then we have these papers for the people that are in the room. If you have other comments or questions, you can leave that back there as well. All right?
The survey is in the chat.
The survey is in the chat. Facebook family, the survey is in the chat. And on the website, and on our Facebook page. And I think you can even scan the code, the QR code. It's actually on our electronic board in front of Central Services, as well as back there. I can tattoo it on my arm and that'll be so, all right. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Where we find the survey? They're on the website. They're in the, you got the most recent inside viewers in there. Or there's a QR code right over there with it where you can just do it on your phone. And it's also, if you go on the website, there's a tab at the top that says demographic study, and it's up there too.
All three of them? All three is man?
Yeah, all three of them. I know this camera's picking up, but right now we use arcade printing. So send it out. We're trying to use a permit for the district, bulk permit. But for some reason, it's taking a long time. They need our federal nonprofit information. So the finance office reached out to get that.